All right, so this is where all the equipment is typically stored for the Best Leads group. Back here up at Trapper's Grill is the closet. We're gonna be using the television. We're gonna be grabbing the supplies box and then also the stereo box as well. The door stop right there, we'll grab that bad boy so we can put it on this door. Otherwise, you're making stuff more difficult for yourself. So yeah, you'll take the supplies box, you'll set it up right over here. Some other members will be here earlier to come open this up. We'll set up the flag, and there's all kinds of stuff that are in there as well. So right now we're gonna set up some of the other areas for the sound system, which is gonna go right here. And then we're gonna put these tables. You can either grab this table or this table and put them together, or grab this table, and that's where the television is gonna sit. So you put the two tables together just like that. And that's where the television is gonna go. This is what it looks like when you're gonna open up the box. You've got the extension cable, and we'll go through these and open all these up. You've got the microphone, you've got the receiver. We also have the HDMI cable for the television, as well as the power cable as well, and the remote that's in this bag as well. And then I'll show you where we're gonna set all these up at. So again, that's where you set the sound system up. If you wanna take a back look at it, that's what it looks like. So we've got Christmas tree, extendable outlet, however you want to call this one. We've got your extension cable. We've got the cables for the sound system. In here is going to be the receiver. Then we also have the microphone that's in there. And then also here's the TV bag. And we'll open all these up and get these all set up for you. All right, so this is what the receiver looks like. It's a little Shure, little wireless receiver. This is the XLR cable that we're gonna connect the receiver to the amp, and I'll show you where all those go. Then you also have the power cable. Then you have the power cable for the receiver. And then you have the amp power cable as well. And we'll show you where all of those are gonna go. We're gonna start by setting the receiver for the microphone on top of the amp, female end of the XLR cable into the back of the receiver. This is what's gonna be carrying the audio signal from the receiver to the amp. So we're gonna plug this guy right here. That's what it looks like when it's fully in. You'll also hear it click, and that's how you know that it's securely in there. Now, you've got obviously the male end on here. Then we're gonna take this into the mic port 1 on the back of the amp. Plug that guy in. So see, you've got that XLR cable going from the amp into the receiver. Next, we're gonna work on the power and get that plugged in. I'm going to grab these two cables for the receiver, and this is gonna go from the receiver into the back of this box right here. And we've got the receiver power. My camera will focus here. And it's gonna go right here. Then you're gonna take the end of the power cable, plug that into this port right here. Then you're gonna plug the power portion in the back into the back of the amp right here. So see how you got all that? That goes from there down into there. So just to recap, you've got the power for the receiver, and then the XLR cable that's gonna be traveling the audio to the back of the amp to the power. Now we're gonna plug this amp in. Again, take this guy, plug it in the back of the amp. And this cable is gonna plug into your 6-way power outlet that's down there. A way to tell that you have power is this right here, this little number 1 right here. If that doesn't show up yet, that means your power on here hasn't been turned on yet. Okay, so next, we're gonna turn on the receiver and we're gonna test the microphone that I took out of this bag. Now, There should be also some batteries in here sometimes as well. Some backup batteries. Looks like we need to refill, but it uses a 9-volt battery on this microphone, which is a wireless microphone. So we're gonna test the microphone. So we're gonna turn on the power for the amp, and then we're gonna turn on the power for the microphone. It's gonna give you a green light. Now, if this light shows up red, that means you're gonna have to change the battery, okay? Test. So, looks like we got sounding like we have sound, and the microphone is working. You also have your volume right here. So, there you go. So what I'm gonna do is turn this guy back off. That's the rest spot, and I'll turn it all the way back off because we won't be using it for a few minutes. And then I'm gonna set it up back here, and it'll lie right back here. So again, these are all the spots where everything goes back into. You got the receiver, and the XLR cable goes back into this case. You've got all the power cables from the amp, as well as the receiver, the wireless receiver for the mic, go back in here. And then the microphone goes back in here. And what I typically always do is take all of these guys and I put them in this box right down here. And then we're gonna move the box over somewhere over there. Next, we're gonna go grab the television and I'll show you how to set that up. So you're gonna take that box off the television and you're gonna find a spot and set it somewhere in this room. Now the television is light enough for somebody to grab it, but I don't typically do that because it's so awkwardly big. If you're walking out here and you accidentally break the thing, then it sucks. So I'd always try to grab somebody to help you to grab it. And look! All right, so that's what it's gonna look like after you got somebody to help you grab the television. You're gonna set it up right here on this table. And then we're gonna start plugging it in and getting it hooked up, all right? In the bag, you have an HDMI cable that you can run to from a laptop to the back of the television. You've got the power cable for the television, and then we also have the remote as well. I always just throw that guy right there, and then plug the television in, and then we'll see what happens. Now, what I typically do when it comes to the HDMI cable, you've got 3 ports back here. I typically just utilize HDMI 1 to whatever port that you have it connected to back here. You also have to have it within the television when we turn it on. So I will show you what that looks like as well. But we're gonna utilize port 1 so we could use that for our presentations. This other end is gonna go to a particular laptop or some source as well. I wasn't able to figure out how to get the laptop connected to the television wirelessly. There's some hotel thing or something. So maybe whoever checks this out, you might be able to figure that out. All right, so at the time that this was shot, we're using a laptop that used an Apple with a Thunderbolt cable, so we have an adapter that goes to the HDMI port. Now, if you have a newer Apple, whatever device or adapter that you're gonna need, and then if you have a Windows machine, they typically still have the HDMI port on there as well, so just connect that directly into the laptop. So now we wanna test the television. Obviously you hit the power button on the remote. That seems pretty straightforward. So now you have this. Now, I don't know if you remember that we had the HDMI cable plugged into the HDMI port 1. So as you can see, we've got that going up here. Click on the OK button. And now you should have your screen either mirrored, or you can also go within your preferences and your settings to do a split screen as well. And that is how you set up the television for your Best Leads Group presentation, as well as the audio system. Take these cables, they're gonna go back in here. Unplug all your cabling. You wanna put everything back. So at the end, make sure you put everything back where it's supposed to be. Put your mic back in this piece right here. You're gonna take the receiver, put this guy back. That's with the XLR cable. That's gonna go back as well. And you're gonna sit that. You'll be like, yeah. All right, make sure you put everything back nicely, compact. Don't go trashing the stuff. And yeah, there you go.